Welcome back to another episode of AI Chronicles, everyone. I first met Anna during a Women in AI panel just like 2 or 3 weekends ago and really appreciated her perspective on AI development and where the industry is headed. She's the co founder of Aparti AI, and in this episode, we talk about what it takes to be a woman founder today, navigating AI hype, and building with intention. But before we get started, hi Anna, how are you doing?
Hello, doing great. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful Friday in San Francisco, and the week was super active and a lot of cool things waiting us ahead.
Awesome. So before we start asking you some questions, what's one thing you wish more people asked you about being a founder?
Mhm. Ooh, I think maybe how to work with anxiety as a
Mm,
founder, and also how to support each other. What, like, one thing you need help with, how you can help to someone, like having this supportive. I'm very lucky. I have very supportive community, but I think two topics: anxiety and support.
that's a very good one. And yeah, that is true. I have never actually heard any founder being asked that question as much. Right. So what does being a women founder in this AI space mean to you right now? And how has that identity shaped the way you lead?
Wonderful question. I think, and we discussed with you this during the woman brunch
Hmm.
event. I personally believe that the AI is equalizer right now. It doesn't matter how you look like, which gender, which skin color you are, to utilize it. Mm. And for me, right now, being a woman founder means that I can prove how great we are. Like people like you with extensive background in technology, people like me with a background in technology, we can uplift so many people around us who look like us, who think like us, to like continue bring more diverse products, because AI is the equalizer, but we still need to think how to build like diverse products which will be loved by any type of the consumer. And for me, how it's shaped the way how I lead, I think AI and the way how I lead, they're not like exactly connected. There's more of like your management style. That's still the question when you're coming into the room, and like who is in this room, and like predominantly it's still men. And like
Mm.
every AI conference in Silicon Valley, it's still a room full of men, but you can see the shift. I'm really proud of it. And I see the huge uplift in terms of women in AI, events, like
Hmm.
communities, like having those circles. I get so many requests from guys like, oh my God, you girls are doing such a great thing. Can we join? And I'm like, okay, you have your own circles. Let's us hang out together and exchange ideas. And I think also AI gave tools to explore different type of the businesses, which are predominantly, again, like with the woman, or those
Hmm.
who identify themselves as a woman. It's like a fashion, for example. That's a huge, like the huge jump there. That's why I think it's a great opportunity for us to show the world what we can achieve.
Agreed, agreed, absolutely agreed. And what's like a misconception you see non-technical founders or investors carry about building with AI?
mm, I think the biggest misconception is non-technical. Okay, I'm like more on technical side. Let me start from there. I still see misconception about the way how you've been treated, like the people do not believe that you understand the topic and you understand
Mm,
like a lot of details of like how LLM works, what's the difference between machine learning, and not the difference, like how to differentiate machine learning, AI, guardrails, what all of this. This is misconception number one. But for non-technical founders or investors, from non-technical, I think non-technical opposite. They're open because now you have a tools to build the demo faster. For example, with the vibe coding, which I think
mm-hmm.
again shifting non-technical founders into a more motivational mode, that they are not lost anymore. They can do a lot of
Right.
stuff by themselves. But for the investors, I think there's the two things. For the investors, misconception that because of the AI, you can get to MRR or ARR, which is $100 million, in couple months. You still need to build the product. You still need to find product market
Yeah.
fit. You can build faster, but there is a whole chain of the events you need to go through, go to market process. And that's, I think, misconception I see right now, because there's a wonderful company who are able in 8, 6, 12 months start getting incredible revenue. And it's a huge, for us, it's like a huge benchmark, but it doesn't mean that everyone will lean into this direction.
Mhm. So, do you think that misconception with investors, especially, is becoming more and more common lately, especially with all like some of the startups growing super fast in like few months? And like, do you think they are generalizing with every startup, with every kind of product in this industry?
Mhm. I think that the great investors who has amazing experience and who saw different waves like a dot-com
Mm-hmm.
boom, the boom of semiconductors, Web3, AI, they totally understand that this is the new tool to build faster and to test hypotheses faster, but
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that the revenue will grow. I will not say that across all investors this misconception is happening, but I still probably see that sometimes in the back of the mind, people are thinking or asking examples of the company who grow rapidly, which is
Mm-hmm.
like, again, for you as a founder, important to set up like, okay, they are for us like a benchmark. We want to move towards this direction, and we need to plan like growth path A,
Mm-hmm.
huge like a hockey stick, incredible, and growth part B, which is more natural when it's like a steady growth and it's happening, and then you have a hockey stick. I
Mm-hmm.
will not generalize that everyone, but I can see that in the back end of the mind, a lot of investors asking this question.
Mm-hmm. I see. And which industries do you think are still flying under the radar when it comes to the real potential of AI? I know this was like a discussion from our Women in Brunch thing as well. I had more questions back then. I'm like, okay, worth asking it now in the podcast itself.
I think that right now we're starting from the top of the iceberg. Everything what's easy to automate, like a lot of repeatable work done by human. Um, we're talking about customer support, right? Like a customer success, follow-up emails, incredible example of Grammarly, like redesign
Mhm.
your emails. I think what probably will be next step, more classical technology like agriculture,
Mm,
for
yeah,
example, this kind of like a food production. I will say probably that will be industry in next couple years which will be disrupted, because I remember like a long time ago we were talking about the food chain and like a
yeah.
blockchain to like see from from the moment when food being produced till the moment it's in your plate, like what's happened. That was a very difficult concept to like track everything and
Hmm.
also track waste. I think AI will help also fight with the hunger, because you can track better like agriculture, how it's uh, getting through the different sources, which like for example cities need more, which less, how to like decrease the waste, which is like really important. Where with you from the places where the food, it's it's a treasure, for like in a lot of places it's a treasure, and we understand how waste is bad.
Hmm. That's an interesting point. Okay, shifting gears a little bit. As a founder, how do you create space for learning and reflection in a culture obsessed with speed and scale?
Well, we just discussed this question yesterday with my co-founders. um I will say, like, as a founder, I think every day is a learning. We
Yeah.
are like internally in our team very open on like sharing podcasts, sharing articles, like, again, support each other. It's like it's always easy when you're not alone, when you have like, or I have a girls, we have a Telegram channels when we're exchanging some Twitter news. like
Mm,
related to the technology, what's happening in the world, or some updates about the startups. um, I think maybe I'm not there yet, but I would love to also block time. And this is always the good advice when you're in the corporate industries. Block time in your calendar where you are spending time for the learning and
mm,
development, right? Like
that's a
in the
good one.
corporate world, you have even learning and development departments where I remember where I used to work in Thomson Reuters, we have every half year mandatory courses. You can choose, like from the list of courses, you can choose the course from 4 to I think 10 hours when you are going into like special certification. I have like a Cisco certification with a how to set up Cisco hardware, right?
Mm,
Because I was choosing this for my work. Same should be for the startup. You need to block for yourself time to learn, and also block time to rest, because founders mental health and physical health is very important. When you are not in the good stage, you are moving slower. We're in the fast pace, yes, for sure, but you need to learn how to slow down.
go down. See, this is a thing that it feels very logical to my brain, logical to me. But then again, I'm not a founder, but I am surrounded with founders. And at least I have heard a lot in SF culture in SF Bay Area that many startup founders like they're constantly working, and I get like why they need to work. They are founders; they're expected to work long hours. But I really I'm glad that you brought up the point of slowing down because it's so important. You're a startup founder, I got it, but you have to slow down a little bit. Totally makes sense. Thank you for sharing that bit.
I think it's also depends on the your age, right? Because when
Yeah.
you're in 20s founder, I think you don't need slow. You don't
Mm-hmm.
understand the value of a slowing down. Now we're in the mid
Nah.
30s. Like even inside the accelerator, we're so different. We're like, okay, we want to eat healthy. We need to sleep at least like 6 hours, maybe not eight,
Right.
but 6 hours. You can see how different you are and how you can prioritize things and still be very productive.
Exactly. Absolutely great. Awesome. Okay, I want to talk to you about your company. Actually, before I ask you a question about, why don't you tell the listeners what your company does?
Absolutely, yes. Let me just in general tell a little bit like a small elevator pitch about myself and then about the company. As Sonam said, I'm Anna. I'm originally from Moscow, and my background all my life was computer engineering. I have a master's in computer engineering, and I used to work at DHL and like other Fortune 500 companies like Thomson Reuters. I always been in engineering, program management, and product for the last 17 years. And when I came to Silicon Valley and I came from Europe, that's where I used to work before, approximately 8+ years ago, I came for my MBA. And then I was lucky to get into one of the top YC backed startups as a program and product manager and specialize in API integration. That's the place where I met one of my co founders. And I saw the need and the pain of the automation in the space of the family law. Like I saw how divorce is painful. It took me some time to switch from the corporate to entrepreneurial journey, approximately 2 years. At that time, I met my another co-founder, and that's exactly the power of right people around you. And in the end of the last year, we started one company, and we were lucky. We came to the interview with one of the uh, very like famous investors in Silicon Valley, and he advised us like if you have any other ideas. And we pitched, like I pitched my another idea about the divorce automation. He absolutely loved it, and that's how we started in the end of February, beginning of March, like a party. It's an AI automation for document asset division and intake for family law firm. It's a pretty much operational system for family law firms. We're helping family law firms to get like a full cycle of the case, starting from the divorce, and helping families who are going through this process to have more empathetical, soft, empathetical way to go through the process.
Great, great. Yeah, but the first time I heard about your company, I'm like, wow. Never had AI help family law. Never heard of that. I know AI is getting in the legal industry, but family law, it's very specific, like domain specific. So what were like, I know you mentioned a little bit like how you got into this, but what were some of the assumptions you had about building a company before you started a party, and like how did reality surprise you?
It will be a little bit of like me opening up. One of my assumption was for a very long time, I'm not good enough to be a founder. I am like really great in executing things. I'm really great into um, helping someone's ideas to get into the real life, like get the stuff done.
Mhm.
And I like, especially in Silicon Valley, I'm also surrounded by so many talented founders. Like a lot of my friends raised millions and dollars, build amazing products. And I was looking at them and I'm like, it's not about me. Like, I don't think that I'm good enough. I need some structure. I need someone managing me. Until at some point, it hit me, like with all my previous jobs, that job description was very limiting for me, for like in terms of what I want to do. And right now, as a founder, know how to execute, know how to run multiple things at the same time. That's your superpower. I don't need to be managed. I really good and organized with my schedule. I helping my co-founders as well with this. Um, and this assumption that I'm not good enough, it was so bad that all the people who I was look up for, when I became a founder, they came to me and like, finally, we're waiting when you became a founder. It was so obvious for us in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and we still didn't get why you were staying like in some companies. But that's a learning journey. I'm very thankful to every company I used to work.
Mhm.
It's shaped me where I am right now.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that bit. Absolutely inspiring. Okay, I just want to ask like one last question. What's the fun part of working or having a startup of your own? Besides, you are your own boss.
Mm-hmm. The fun part that you cannot predict what will happen today. Like, I have a schedule
Mm.
for sure, like with the calls, but something always going south. Like something is not working, something is happening. This is number one. Number two, um, it's liberating, but at the same time is scary. You are managing your own schedule. Like sometimes I can wake up at 6 and start working from early morning. Sometimes I can stay longer in the bed. Um, but I will be working at night, probably like out of 7 days of the week, 5 I will be working at night to like follow up on something. Mm, the fun part, for me, fun part that I can talk about my business everywhere, every time. It's sometimes annoying for people when you're going and you keep talking about your business. And fun part that people keep saying that at the moment when I'm change gears and switching to like talking about my business, even my the way how I'm talking, my muscles, everything changing. From like nice bubbly Anna, I'm like, okay, I'm doing this and this. Like, oh damn, you became so serious. And I'm like, yeah, this is my baby. I'm like very
Yeah,
serious about it.
exactly, exactly. That's very cool. Thank you so much. And I had really good time talking to you. Thanks so much for sharing all your wisdom, your learnings, your challenges, and what you're building today. So that's a wrap for today's episode, everyone. And if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to follow AI Chronicles for more stories at the intersection of tech, leadership, and real world AI. And towards the end, I'll have a QR code for you to connect with Anna and myself as well. Thank you, Anna, for your time.